I'll develop some disease and say I have to resign.
Well, it looks like Joe Biden predicted his own future demise 4 years ago. In a shocking turn of events, President Joe Biden has decided not to seek re-election. The big guy himself has stepped down, leaving the Democratic Party scrambling to regroup and rally behind their new nominee, Vice President Kamala Harris. Joe Biden officially withdrew from the race on Sunday, July 21st, which, believe it or not, was National Ice Cream Day. He announced it via a post on X with a signed letter on unofficial letterhead. But who exactly was it signed by? Social media has been ablaze, showing why the signature does not belong to Joe Biden. At first, I didn't think much of this, but upon further review, holy shit. This was a legit coup today. It's not his signature. This is a blatant criminal forgery and a coup. Why no word from Biden himself? In the fog of the assassination attempt, the Democrats initiated a coup. Analyzing the last 5 executive orders that were signed by Biden, you can clearly see just how different the signature is on his withdrawal letter. 81 million votes and the latest guarantees to stay in the race, and suddenly you announce you're quitting via press release? Coup. Let's recap this historic day. Joe Biden suddenly resigns via X. White House staff find out 1 minute later. Joe Biden resignation letter not on official letterhead. Biden's signature suspect. Underlined. Steve Ricchetti helped write letter. Jill Biden tweets heart emoji response. White House wipes Biden's schedule. White House chief of staff calls cabinet, manages communications. Frank Biden confirms health a factor. Family suggests Biden may have terminal illness. Joe Biden holds no live press conference. Where is Joe? Just another perfectly normal day in Biden's America. Only minutes after he dropped out of the race, there was already a Hulu special about it.
Just released and just happened.
Tell me our government's rigged without telling me our government's rigged.
Vivek Ramaswamy had already revealed the Joe Biden conspiracy back in November of 2023.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his candidacy now so we can see whether it's Newsom or Michelle Obama or whoever else.
All right,
just
Mr.
tell us the
Ramaswamy,
truth so we can have an honest debate.
Vivek posted, if cognitive impairment was their issue with Biden, then choosing Kamala is either an irony or a head fake. Charlie Kirk tweeted, got a weird lead on a story that people should look into. I got a call from a source close to Las Vegas Metro. The official story was that Joe Biden's trip was cut short last week due to COVID. However, according to this source, U.S. Secret Service informed Las Vegas Metro that there was an emergency situation involving Joe Biden and to close necessary streets so that POTUS could be transported immediately to University Medical, which they began to do in earnest. Then mysteriously, there was a stand-down order and the USSS informed local Vegas PD that they were going to medevac POTUS to Johns Hopkins, which they presumed meant fly him back east ASAP. Apparently, the rumor mill in the police department was that Joe Biden was dying or possibly already dead. I didn't think too much about this lead. Seemed too wild to be true, but given that Joe Biden has been out of public sight for days and dropped out of the race via an X post, and his brother James indicated health was a factor, I'm beginning to grow more curious if COVID or something else has been more serious than reported. I want to hear if there is more to the official story than what they're telling us. If you remember, on July 5th, Laura Loomer posted a detailed story about a medical emergency on Air Force One stating, Joe Biden is reportedly having a medical emergency on Air Force One right now. Press access has been removed. With Biden out of the race, Vice President Kamala Harris is now the Democratic nominee. She's been busy rallying her troops and preparing for the upcoming election.
So now that the process is played out, from the grassroots bottom up, we are here today to throw our support behind Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm clapping. You don't have to. Vice President Harris will beat Donald Trump and become the next president of the United States of America. Applause. Hakeem.
Immediately after Biden withdrew from the race, the entire Democrat war machine got behind his replacement, Kamala Harris, who had a very awkward phone conversation with Joe that many are also proving was fake after hearing her slip up and start to say recording instead of phone call.
It is so good to hear our president's voice. Joe, I know you're still on the call, and we've been talking every day. You guys heard it from Doug's voice. We love Joe and Jill. We really do. They truly are like family to us. And we do, everybody here does.
It's mutual.
I knew you were still there. You're not going anywhere, Joe.
I'm watching you, kid. I'm watching you, kid. I love you.
I love you, Joe.
IT expert Matthew Sabia revealed that there is a 98% possibility that the White House used a popular AI voice cloning tool for Joe Biden's call to Kamala Harris.
I know yesterday's news was surprising and it was hard for you to hear, but it was the right thing to do. I know it's hard because you poured your heart and soul into me.
Okay, let's just go on old 11 Labs and see if that's really all they probably used for this. So, upload. There we go. And let's see what we got. Yeah, looks like they didn't even really try.
You hear this clapping? Can you see it?
I'm watching. I'm watching.
I knew it.
Here are just a few of the old videos of Kamala that are circulating on social media this week.
Long before she met Doug Emhoff, she dated some prominent men, including in 2001, former talk show host Montel Williams. Back then, he was the famous one and had to introduce her to the paparazzi.
Kamala Harris. Kamala.
Robbie Starbuck tweeted, just a quick timeline for everyone to consider. Biden says 20 times that he's not dropping out and that he won't be pushed out by party elites. He gets COVID, goes out of sight for a few days. His campaign co-chair says emphatically that Joe is not leaving the race, period. A few hours later, his X account posts that he is leaving the race via a screenshot document with absolutely no proof that he's behind it. Joe Biden's campaign aides and staff say that they found out via X, not from the Bidens. 24 hours later, Joe still hasn't shown his face to confirm that it's his statement, but Kamala secured enough delegates to be the nominee within those 24 hours since his post. Joe Biden's X account now has a Kamala ad as his profile header. Their campaign headquarters has been redone to eliminate Biden's name. Kamala holds a small event where she begins to say he's on a record, then says phone, and we hear a strange back and forth that feels totally unnatural. All of this via phone like we're living in the 1940s glued to the radio for news. No visual is shown of him. All of this occurs with no proof that it's Joe. Maybe he did this, but even if he did, this is bizarre, and yet the media is pretending it's normal. None of this is normal. Thank God we have X, so they can't control this entire narrative. Eventually, all of it will fall apart. Watch. The White House says Biden has COVID, while many others believe he suffered a stroke.
At his beach house, and we did note he wasn't wearing a mask there when he came down the stairs, but it does appear once he gets in the car that he puts that mask on.
Puts the mask on. It appears that he might be getting a little help just getting into the car there. Hard to make out through the rain what exactly is going on there, but it does look like certainly that the president's feeling the effects of early in the stages of COVID, and many of us have been there. So we do wish him a speedy recovery. John Carl, you're reporting earlier on World News Tonight, getting some pickup tonight across several news outlets. You reported on this meeting that Chuck Schumer had with President Biden. This was Saturday, and it was not long before the...
According to the White House physician, Joe Biden completed his 10th dose of Paxlovid. Paxlovid contains an HIV protease inhibitor with a black box warning. In other words, it's also poison.
Paxlovid, what a horrible drug. 44 severe drug reactions. Okay, ivermectin has 0 severe drug interactions. So, and one of those interactions is with statins, which is the most widely prescribed drug in our country. And you cannot take statins with Paxlovid. Toxic to the liver and kidneys. It contains an HIV drug with a black box warning in it. It leaves a very metallic taste in the mouth and is poorly tolerated. It's been shown to have increased risk of rebound infection. And then a treatment course costs about $530. So really a trash drug.
Paxlovid, once considered a wonder drug to beat back COVID-19, may not be so mighty after all. A study published in the New England Journal of Medicine on Wednesday suggests the antiviral drug does little or nothing for both fully vaccinated or unvaccinated people who have at least one risk factor for severe COVID.
People are now asking the very important question: how long has Joe Biden been dead?
You can't tell me this is normal. Look at his forehead. This is bullshit. That's a mask. That's a skin mask. It ain't normal. Look at it.
North Carolina. And he was a very conservative guy who was very, very...
Oh my gosh, that's a mask.
African American.
Holy cow.
He always had fights.